Every NFL team has changed up their uniforms at one point or another. As a result, all 32 clubs would have what we consider to be a throwback uniform. Now, some of these teams can be seen wearing their throwback unis from time to time throughout the season, but there are still many great throwback uniforms that haven't been worn in years or even decades. And we're just dying to see them again. These are 10 throwback NFL uniforms that need to make a comeback. Number 10. Tennessee Titans Houston Oilers home uniforms. The Tennessee Titans franchise was originally based in Houston, where they played as the Oilers from 1960 to 1996. Following their relocation to the Music City, the franchise kept the Oilers team name for the 1997 and 1998 seasons before changing it to the Titans in 1999. The Titans kept the Oilers' main navy and turquoise colors following the move. But the Titans' current home jersey are predominantly navy. The alternate outfits are mostly turquoise, a little too much of it for our liking. We'd like to see the Titans pay homage to the Houston Oilers and wear the franchise's home outfits once again. May as well bring back the fond memories of the Earl Campbell and Warren Moon days, no? These uniforms had the ideal fix of turquoise, red, and white colors. The overall design, especially the stripes on the pants, were nicely crafted. We'd like to see the Titans wear these throwback Oilers uniforms at least once every season. Yes, the city of Houston got their franchise back in 2002. The Texans are now an AFC South rival of the Titans. That's fun and all. But the Titans and their fans shouldn't forget where their franchise started. They owe some gratitude to the Houston Oilers, and they can show that gratitude by showcasing these throwback uniforms every once in a while. Number 9. Minnesota Vikings late 90s and 2000s home uniforms. We believe the Minnesota Vikings' main purple-colored uniforms are among the absolute best in North American sports. Purple has always been the main color with white and yellow accents. That said, we like the Vikings' 90s and 2000s home uniforms a little more than their current ones. More specifically, the stripe design along the shoulders and pants. The current home outfits don't really stand out as much. Plus, we're considering the nostalgia factor here. The Vikings were one of the NFL's most exciting teams during the Randy Moss, Chris Carter, and Dante Culpepper years, reaching the NFC Championship game in 1998 and 2000. Let's face it, the 2010s decade wasn't all that kind to the Vikings. Why not celebrate the late 90s and early 2000s success by throwing it back a little? You could even consider replacing the alternate uniforms that consist of way too much purple with these throwback ones. Just a thought. Number 8. Jacksonville Jaguars 90s home uniforms. Usually, an expansion franchise takes several years to get their program in place and build up a playoff caliber team. The success rarely comes right away. But that wasn't the case for the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars went 4-12 in their first NFL season back in 1995, but what followed was 4 straight playoff appearances, including stunning trips to the 1996 and 1999 AFC Championship games. Those Jaguars became an AFC powerhouse under head coach Tom Coughlin, Pro Bowl quarterback Mark Brunell, and standout wide receiver Jimmy Smith. Sadly, the Jaguars haven't been the same team since they moved away from those old home uniforms they used to wear during their glory days. This franchise has only made the playoffs once since the 2008 season. They've been among America's worst sporting franchises over the past 10 years or so. The Jaguars have kept their teal home colors intact throughout the years, but we'd love to see them bring back the old outfits from the Mark Brunell glory days. The teal colored beauties with the gold stripes on the arms and the Jaguar placed right above it. Those are flashy and joys to look at. Total eye candy. Why not follow the 2020 Tampa Bay Buccaneers playbook and bring back the jerseys from your best years full time? Or at least wear these throwbacks once or twice a year. We miss them, and they're simply better than what the Jaguars are wearing now. Number 7. Seattle Seahawks first home uniforms. The Seattle Seahawks have had 3 completely different home uniform designs throughout their history. From their inaugural season in 1976 to 2001, the home jerseys were blue, complemented by gray pants. In 2002, the Seahawks revealed completely new uniforms and designs. This time, the home uniforms consisted of a navy blue color with green stripes. Well, the franchise's fortunes changed shortly after the uniform swap. They made the playoffs every year from 2003 to 2007, including a trip to Super Bowl 40 where they fell to the Pittsburgh Steelers. When the Seahawks revamped their uniforms entirely in the 2012 season, the franchise began to enjoy its greatest stretch run under Pete Carroll, Russell Wilson, and the Legion of Boom. That was highlighted by a Super Bowl 48 championship, the first first in franchise history. History shows that once the Seahawks changed their uniforms, on-field success follows. Well, they're still among the NFL's top teams, and they still have one of the slickest uniforms in football. There's no need to change them. But the Seahawks have rarely, and I mean rarely, thrown it back to their old uniforms. We'd love to see the home uniforms from 1976 to 2001 return for at least a game or two. The dark blue uniforms with the giant jersey numbers and silver helmets were a sight to behold. It's been a long time since we've seen them. Why not wear them on a Thursday night game down the road as a part of a Throwback Thursday? Number 6. Tampa Bay Buccaneers creamsicle uniforms. Okay, we can totally understand why some of you are screaming at us for this. Sure, they might be a little too flashy, and some of you unquestionably find these downright hideous. So what? Throwback uniforms aren't supposed to be all that fancy and appealing. They're supposed to look, well, outdated and not so fashionable in today's NFL. We were thrilled when the Bucs decided to ditch their previous uniforms ahead of the Tom Brady era, opting instead to bring back the main designs and colors that they sported from 1997 to 2013. The creamsicle color was Tampa's main home uniform from 1976 to 1996. They were consistently among the NFL's worst franchises during that time frame, and we're sure many longtime Bucs fans would rather never see them again. But Mr. Brady himself wants to see the creamsicle unis return, and quite frankly, so do we. Again, throwback uniforms aren't supposed to be universally liked. They are rarely going to satisfy everyone's taste buds. And if your new superstar quarterback wants the creamsicle back, maybe you should do it at least once. Number 5. Baltimore Ravens original home uniforms. We firmly believe that the Ravens have always had top-flight uniforms since their arrival in the NFL back in 1996. We love that they've stayed loyal to the main purple-colored home uniforms, and the black alternate uniforms are among the NFL's best as well. The Ravens haven't worn the throwback uniforms a whole lot in recent years. If they decide to change that, we would absolutely love to see them bring back the original home unis from the early Ray Lewis days. The home purple outfit with the logo of the Raven flapping its wings on the arm, and that vintage helmet logo with the Baltimore shield. We love it. Please, do whatever it takes to bring these back. Again, the Ravens uniform changes throughout the years have been positive more often than not. We're not complaining, but wouldn't it be awesome to see them wear these throwbacks at least once in the Lamar Jackson era? Number 4. Denver Broncos 1962 to 1996 home uniforms. The Denver Broncos wore those aforementioned ugly mustard home uniforms in 1960 and 61, their first 2 years of existence in the AFL. They completely changed things up in the 1962 season, and for the next 34 years, the home uniforms would consist of mainly orange-colored jerseys. Soon after the color change, the Broncos began to wear blue-colored helmets that depicted a Bronco inside the letter D. Denver completely changed up their uniforms in the 1997 season, the year the franchise won its first ever Super Bowl. The navy colors were the primary home outfit from 1997 to 2011. Once Peyton Manning arrived in 2012, the Broncos decided to make the alternate Orange Crush uniforms their main home outfits, and the navy jerseys became the alternate. We love both the current home and alternate uniforms and logos, but at some point, the Broncos should throw it back to one of the uniforms they wore between 1962 and 1996. John Elway made those old uniforms iconic in the 80s when he led the franchise to 3 Super Bowl appearances. The Broncos turned a corner under his guidance, and no matter how slick today's unis are, the franchise ought to pay homage to those good times. I mean, come on, they went back to the hideous mustard outfits for a 2009 home game against the New England Patriots, so why not bring back the much nicer vintage home uniforms with the blue helmet and the Bronco inside the D logo as well? Number 3. New England Patriots Pat Patriot uniforms. The franchise wore the Pat Patriot uniforms from 1960 to 1992 before undergoing a massive makeover. They introduced the Flying Elvis logo in 1993, and the Patriots switched to the mainly navy uniforms with a bit of red, white, and gray. The Patriots brought back the Pat Patriot uniforms in 2009, but their return was short-lived, as they discontinued it after the 2012 season, which disappointed many of their fans. New England changed up its uniform design ahead of the 2020 season following Tom Brady's departure, but the changes did not include the return of Pat Patriot. Why? We're not so sure. Why? Yes, the Patriots were often among the NFL's worst teams when they wore the Pat Patriot jerseys. The old-timer fans would probably love to forget about those dark days for this franchise, but come on! The red colors were beautiful, and the iconic Pat Patriot logo needs to be revisited at some point again. Bring him back, Robert Kraft, at least once every few years or so. Number 2. Dallas Cowboys 2000 and early 2010s alternate uniforms. The Cowboys' colors and uniform designs haven't changed too much since they became a franchise in 1960. That's largely what makes their logo and jersey so iconic. Good on Jerry Jones for keeping the uniforms relatively the same after buying the franchise in 1989. But if there's a throwback to bring back, it's the Cowboys' alternate uniforms that were worn in the 2000s and early 2010s. These outfits had a nice old-school look and feel. They were a darker color of blue compared to the home outfits, with an awesome star design along the shoulders. It was just a cool and different look from other Cowboys throwback outfits. America's team discontinued them after the 2014 season, using a mainly white-colored alternate uniform as a replacement. There was something cool about those dark navy outfits with the vintage helmet design and star on the shoulder. Here's hoping Jerry brings them back one day. Number 1. Philadelphia Eagles Kelly Green uniforms. The midnight green has served as the main color for the Eagles' home uniforms since 1996. Before that, their old home logos were the Kelly Greens, a flashy and brighter green color. I gotta say, though I love these midnight green outfits, they're among the absolute best in any sport, and we hope Philly never moves away from them. That said, it's long overdue for the Kelly Greens to make a return. The Eagles wore the Kelly Greens in their Week 1 2010 home game against the Green Bay Packers, but they haven't been worn ever since. Why stick with one green color when you can get the best of both worlds? That is, why not wear the Kelly Green at least once every year? You gotta throw it back at some point. We don't have enough extravagant, bright-colored jerseys in today's NFL now, do we? So what's stopping the Eagles from bringing these back? We want them ASAP, please and thanks. But hey, what about you? What other throwback uniforms should the NFL bring back? Join us in the comment section below. If you liked this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton. And hey, we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you guys next time.